How's it going, bros? My name's Markipliers, but you already knew that, and in today's installment on 1 Billion Lions, I'm going to be proving to you why the Lions could easily sweep the entire cast of Xenoblade Chronicles, so let's just jump into it. But first we need to establish some rules. First of all, everyone's on a neutral plane, flat earth theory style. And second, I'd like to think 1 Billion Lions is pretty self-explanatory, but with the Xenoblade cast, alive or dead, everyone is here. And of course there will be spoilers in this video, but with that said, let me tell you why Shulk is going to get bodied in the first 13 minutes. Now of course at the time of this video we don't know what he's capable of in the DLC, so first edition Shulk is just going to get overwhelmed by the sheer amount of lions. The same applies to almost everyone else on the Xenoblade 1 side. The only way I can see them surviving is just by flying around on the junks, supporting Sharla as she takes shots from the air. But what happens when the fuel on the junks runs out? That's right, lion swarm. But it would be unfair to leave out Eggle, Fiora and Mumkar, as I'm sure each face unit would take out hordes of lions, but even then it's only a matter of time before they need to land, and then it's game over. So at that point, the only way I can see the Xenoblade 1 cast from coming out on top is if Eggle and Zanza control their respective titans to take out millions of lions. But then hypothetically, once the lions reach, let's say, the Bionis, what stops them from reaching Prison Island where Zanza is? The Rotbart? I don't think so. Oh, and Alvis would have been the one to orchestrate this. So let's move on and see how the Xenoblade 2 cast will be doing. Now ultimately I think Rex and the gang would have a higher chance of winning, but would eventually get worn down, as even with multiple artifice at their disposal, and Poppy Cutie Pie, I'd imagine the team would lose on an emotional level. For example, sure Mithra could be controlling Siren, but once Rex kicks the bucket after being swarmed by lions, how do we know we're not just going to have another Torna situation on our hands? The same applies to Jin and Laura. Are the others going to have the will to keep on fighting? I don't think so. It especially doesn't help that a Malthus isn't doing much either, nor is the Architect. Oh, and Malos would probably have the highest KDs. If anything were to change my mind on the Lions winning, then it would have to be Azurda teaming up with the Ouroboros. Due to the nature of interlinking, I don't see why Noah's crew couldn't just keep fighting indefinitely, and then once the interlink times out, retreating onto Azurda until they're ready to go again. Now it's a bit iffy on whether Nia and Melia would have their battle mechs, but I'd say that it just comes down to personal preference within the confines of the rules, because if they do have their mechs, then I could easily see things going in the Queen's favour, and let's not forget about all the mobile colonies that could probably also do some hefty damage. Most of the Mobius aren't going to be of any use. Sure, they have some fancy powers, but without the flame clocks, it's only a matter of time before they get worn down. I can only see Mr. Wildride, Triton and Dixon making any sort of serious impact, and yes, I know Dixon isn't a Mobius. Or is he? Zed would probably just be sitting down somewhere watching everything unfold. N and M would be the MVPs. It is worth mentioning though, that I'm sure whatever the Wave 4 characters can do, it'd be very useful to the fight. And finally, I'm sure you're wondering what I've got to say about the Xenoblade X cast, as surely with their skills, they'll prove to be very helpful. Well, they're stuck on a whole different planet, no peace looking at the sky.